Y'all already know you tuned in to the Fran Lover Show. Don't go nowhere else. You heard me.
All right, today on the Fran Lover Show, we got a special guest. All right, my man right here, Tabari. What's good, boy?
What up, Daddy?
What up,
I'm finally
boy?
glad to get here, man. You've been down here for a minute. I wasn't feeling like, I wasn't feeling the love.
You wasn't getting the look?
I was out chilling. I got the call like, yo, I want to come through and do the interview. I was like, cool. All right, let's get it. Man.
You in the building now?
I'm in the building, man.
Tell everybody who you are, man.
Man,
what you
I'm Tabari, man. I'm from East Orange, New Jersey. We met in the music industry when, I was doing my thing and you doing your thing. Recently, within the last 10 years, I've jumped into filmmaking and found a very passion for filmmaking and director and production on a whole, has really, just sent me on another path in my life. And I'm here. I'm excited. I'm having fun. Life is good.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you're originally from East Orange, New Jersey?
East Orange and
or
North.
from the South somewhere?
No. I always like to love South music, so that's why y'all used to chop me up. But East Orange, was raised in East Orange. Was there. My grandma and my great grandmother, they were in Newark, so I would be in East Orange 5 days, and on the weekend I'd be in Newark. And that was my life. That was just kind of growing up in that whole. What that whole thing in North Jersey is.
Right. That's that Naughty by Nature area.
Shout out to Naughty by Nature. Shout out to East Orange, Essex County.
Shout out KG. What up?
All tri-state, baby.
Yeah. No doubt.
When you're there, it's just like, hopping over the bridge or hopping into whatever is nothing.
Right. So can we go back to the? We don't want to go back, because we contemporary age now.
Yeah, we contemporarily old school.
So let's go back to when you was A&R. How about that?
You know what? It was like a dope thing. I remember all right, so this is how that all happened. I used to book comedians. Shout out there all my people at Rider University. I used to book all the comedians and stuff for shows. And so I booked a good friend of mine, and still a friend of mine, Michael Collier. And then after the show, he asked me what I wanted to do, and I wasn't sure. You know what I'm saying? So he had like a couple of drills that we did, that evening, just to kind of line up what your passion was. And after we kind of, did those drills, he, we looked at it, and it was like music was my passion. So after that day, everything in my life, just kind of focused on music and moving forward to that. Like I got like a radio station at school, had a radio show a couple times a week. I started promoting for So Def and Jermaine. Shout out to Muhammad Bell who put me in the game with Jermaine. And that was just like a very interesting thing, And then once I met like an A&R, I was just like, all right, that's what I wanted to be. And I knew that around like my senior year in college, and I just focused all my energy on that. When I graduated, had a chance to go, I don't want to talk to groups, but I had a chance to go on the road with a couple of groups and really get in the life of, what that was. At that time, like the Fugees were blowing up in my town, and they were creating a score. So I was like in every session of that with my man Sadek, and that was like a great opportunity just to be a a fly on the wall. To just to see some greatness happen, not even realize, oh, this is great, you know what I'm saying? Like something coming out the mud that everybody wasn't appreciated, but they made a great, awesome body of work. So just kind of seeing that, and then I started interning, man. I started interning at Sony and Universal.
So how did that happen? How did you start interning? I mean, if you was in the studio with Sadek, so that automatically put you around some heads that was.
Nah, it was like this. It was my aunt told me. Like my Aunt Cheryl, she's like my little angel. She told me, just came in magazines, and she was just like, you should write some of these people in this magazine. And I do anything she says. Like, and she's like one of those people like that don't speak, but when she speaks it's loud, Right. I started interviewing, I started writing a couple of letters to some of the people that were in the magazine, and this Charmaine Edwards, and she's one of my sorority sisters. Like, and I love her to this day. Like, she saw my resume and read my letter. She laughed about the letter. We laughed about it for years because it was just like a kid trying to get in the game, and she was like, oh, and she like called me. And it all kind of just jumped off, and like, it was, and it was very hard because like when I first started, I wasn't getting no money, you know what I'm saying? And
That's this game.
I would hustle up enough money to get to the city, but then I would have to figure it out when I got into the city. So I would be hustling like just to get the
Welcome to our world.
just to get some food, just to get money to get back home. Like,
Right.
and then it was like parties and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like it was tough, but it was fun at the same time because I was like really around the people that were kind of moving and shaking and changing the pulse, had their finger on the pulse, and that's what it was. And I worked for some good people, worked on some awesome projects, and then I got my chance, and then that's when we kind of met when I was doing my A&R thing over at Jive.
Right.
So shout out to Dino DeValier. He was I used to work for Dino over at Universal. And the opportunity, he was real plugged in. Like, he had signed Cash Money, and he was like real plugged in. He just knew a lot of things, and he was just like, we knew I was kind of just waiting for my opportunity because I had groups, I was managing groups, I was like really like plugged in, and and the opportunity came up, and he stamped me, and I went over there and did my thing. It was like me kind of stepping out the house and doing that. Like I had a great partner in crime over there, Dave Lighty, that kind of like, he was the person I kind of went through that whole matrix with.
Right. Shout out Dino. That's my dude right there.
For sure.
Wherever
you at.
Yeah, wherever you at. He done got tired of the music business. Say, I'm out. Well, he's not out. I'm sure he got his hand in something.
He definitely does.
I'm sure he's chilling somewhere.
It's really
Dino,
good.
holla at me, man. What you doing, man? Where you at, man?
You know.
Yeah, but so that's how we got into the whole thing where, well, for y'all that don't know that Tabari is the one that signed P.D. Pablo. So, he signed P.D. Pablo over at Jive.
Right.
And he came over to Queens to where Buddha and Shamello was living and played him some music and
it went down. Like it was like a real cool thing. Like
being that you always like South music.
Nah, I used to get
we call the right person.
You know what it is, man? I'm a partier. You know what I'm saying? So, and at that time I was partying hard, like, 3-4 clubs a night. And in that, I was hearing what was moving things.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying? What moved the crowd. I don't care. A hit is a hit.
Right.
Don't come to me talking to me about nothing else but a hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what's moving the crowd. Okay, now you could be saying, well, culturally biased or whatever. All right, the South has amazing grasp on it. But when I go to the party, that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Even when I go up north, I go to New York, I'm hearing the same playlist anyway.
Right.
So I don't know. I still like my old school, and I still like, different things, but the things that are kind of I'm partying to, are usually some Southern-based things right now. I got plenty of stuff I listen to and I appreciate it and everything like that, but that ain't what's getting spun at the clubs right now.
Right.
Right.
So let's move on to filmmaking.
All right, filmmaking.
How did you transition from music? So take me from leaving music or A&R into you saying, yo, I want to make a film.
All right, so I didn't leave music. Like I got fired. It left me. No, the A&R
But everything
thing.
happens for a reason, so I'm sure it's a good thing. But you probably didn't feel that way at the beginning, like how Puff was
like,
when Andre let him go.
No, I wasn't even that strong like Puff was. Like, yo, that's just like, it's like somebody came and hit me in my kidney, like, oh, like, So, filmmaking. Like, I always thought that I was gonna make a film one day in my life.
Why?
I had some ideas. I always thought filmmaking was like very cool. I had some filmmaking friends that were cool. You know what I'm saying? Like they were different. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that one day. It was kind of like a opportunity to kind of, reinvent myself. Totally. And so I didn't want to do it in New York and Jersey where everybody was looking. So what's next? I know you got something. We're waiting on you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, like, so I was like, all right, I wanted to go somewhere else and to kind of like just start all over. And I wanted to be obscure. I didn't want to like know nobody. I just wanted to kind of just reinvent myself.
Right.
And so I had like a short list of cities, and Atlanta wound up being, the place where I wound up coming down. A friend of mine, Lisa Collins, was working over at Tyler Perry Studios, and she was like, Tyler was about to do a party, and he was hiring a certain amount of people to come and work the party. But at the same time, I had got inspired of just the digital imagery. Like, digital media is here. Like, this is where it's going. Like, I knew it immediately. Like, this is where it was editing and all that aspect. I was like, man, I saw somebody do some editing. You know what I'm saying? I think we had shot a music video and cut the music video like right where we was at the music video on his laptop. And I was like, this is where it's at. You know what I'm saying? And this was 2006. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I just started buying, and I had the stuff, and I didn't even know a lot of people in Atlanta. So that same Tyler Perry thing happened. I started working there. I worked on I started PAing. And so that's what I was offered the opportunity to PA. And that's like an intern. So it's like for somebody that has some success in another area, a lot of people would have been like, I knew people that was there. People from there knew. But it was like a different situation because it was like, Tyler, like you right next to a lot of things going on right up there. And we was making hella shows. It was like, it was just an awesome situation just to kind of see, what was going on in there and being able to be involved in those shows and the movies and the plays and everything. It was just a great, learning ground. It was just it was like college to me.
So with all those people being there, is that where you got some of your cast for your first movie?
Yeah. So, all right, so this is what happened.
True New York.
Yeah, this is what happened.
New Jersey and either or, same thing. Up north end.
So this is what happened. Like, I was I was working there, and I had my little stash, and I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was like, man, I'm at some point I might open a store or do something. You know what I'm saying? But I knew this wasn't there, and the real estate was all messed up at that point. So I was like, I don't want to go dive and buy no houses or whatever. So I remember we were working on I Could Do Bad All By Myself, and something technically happened on We Gotta Do Bad All Myself that I was like, okay, that's how they did that? Oh, no, I'm doing this. It was this one little technical thing. That I used to watch, all right, so I'll tell you. I used to watch, movies and, Law and Order. And then when they got that, reverse angle shot, I'd be like, yo, it was like a wall right there. Did they cut a hole in the wall? I know that somebody's, house. You know what I'm saying? How do you, so one... When we making a movie and you see everything as a set, right? Right. So it was this one scene we were doing, and and he was like, all right, so after lunch, I don't want the wall to be there, and that's what it was. When it came back from lunch, the wall wasn't there. You could put the camera there. Right. I was like, that's how they did that. I went home that night. I told my partner, I was like, yo, we about to make a movie. I was like, we gonna make a movie. And that was the one little, I don't know why that just triggered it. That was the only thing that I had anxiety about. How am I gonna get the reverse angles? You know what I'm saying? And not that I was shooting on sets anyway, but it was just the dumbest
You wasn't even
thing.
shooting.
Yeah, it was just and then I would be shooting on sets when we're shooting our independent film. You don't have no money to do no sets. So it was just whatever. So that was it. This time, I knew how to make a film now. So I was like, hey, we have to write a film that we can make because we couldn't make, with this one. And so we concentrated on, creating an environment that it would be normal for you to be there a lot, in a storyline that we were moving around that environment. And so we picked a doctor's office and a couple kind of decompressing from what's going on in their relationship and everything. And it was just it was just a great little movie. You know what I'm saying? It was a great little movie. And it was so what happened was I was like, if I'm going to make any noise in this town or any noise around these people that I'm at, I have to do something very aggressively because I felt like I was so behind everybody that was kind of doing it. Everybody kind of been doing it for 10 or 15 years or whatever, but not a lot of people went forward and made a movie. You know what I'm saying? And if they did make a movie, it wasn't a successful movie. And there was a lot of people that were going around making shorts that were around. There was a bunch of dope little filmmakers that were there. And we were we kind of blasted it off right in epicenter of you know what was going on there. Like it wasn't Atlanta wasn't the Atlanta it was now in 2008 2009. You know, most of the people that were working in film production were coming through there, so you knew that
it was coming up.
Yeah, you know, and then when we had success with the film and it went to ABFF and you know every filmmaker, you know every film festival we did, you know, screenings all over. It was just
and that was for the movie is called Breaking Up.
Breaking
right?
Up is hard
Breaking
to do.
Up.
Breaking Up is hard to
check
do.
That out.
And so the whole thing, and so this one of the stars, Demetria McKinney, she was on House of Pain, and I knew her from making House of Pain. So yeah, I did snatch her up in regards to that. You know,
that's people right there.
You know, and then in Kendrick Cross. So and they just did it was like it was magical. It was like a magical time.
So did you get any hate from from?
It was weird. It was
because you was at
the
studio. They'd be like, wait a minute, she's doing another movie someplace else?
Nah, I would get weird looks. I would get weird looks, but like it's like when you have like producers or directors or whatever, you know, and they like, you know, what do you do? And they're like, they'll give you this whole conversation, like I'll give a conversation. They're like, man, look around. Like, there's 100 people working here. There's these resources. There are people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I really took it, like, for granted. Like, I would get, you know, the person that, you know, wasn't the chief wardrobe person, but somebody that was dope that worked on that. Or I wouldn't get the, you know, the DP. I might get the best boy that, you know, that got all the equipment and know what he doing. And I really handpicked people to kind of, you know, put that together, and then I picked, you know, and she presented the opportunity and everything, and it was just like it happened. It happened faster than people could like put a monkey wrench in it.
Right, gotcha.
And then I didn't think anybody thought that we were gonna go through and it be at the level of what it was. But what happened was we put a lot of people that were ready to take a step to the next level together in a situation. And it all kind of, it did that for like everybody.
I think I saw it on, I think if I'm correct, I think I saw it on Netflix.
Yeah, but then all my musical background, so that allowed me to go and secure the deals. It was the same exact thing for me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, it was the same moves. I was talking to the same type of people. You know, I was an A&R. The person that was looking for me, I knew that person was looking for me. That's the acquisitions person. You know what I'm saying? So he found me where he needed to find me. We made sure that, you know, that we were making enough noise and doing enough things and being at the right places, and it happened, you know. And it was like it was just a really good situation for. It was like right at the time where everything, if the digital flicked the switch, I had made an HD movie, so it put us in a position where
you was at the right place,
place at the right time, made the right decisions, and was able to kind of squeak through.
And then you did one more film. Also.
Yeah, I took the money with that, and I made another film called Probable Cause, which was definitely a passion project. Like, I'm a person that, you know, I'll watch a lot of Forensic Files and First 48 and stuff like that, and you know, and I don't want every time you see a black movie that is some slapstick or a romantic comedy or something. I made like a real movie, you know what I'm saying? And it did well. It did well, and we wound up doing like a situation where, you know, it was in Redbox and different things like that. And it's all just kind of figuring this whole game out. You know what I'm saying?
Which is dope. Which is dope. Because for you not to ever do it before, you have a way of figuring things out.
Right.
Being around the right people, so on and so forth.
I think that is the knack, you know what I'm saying, to come through and, you know, really plot and plan, you know, and that's what it is. It's just like, with me, I got plans, I got things. It's just I want to implement them right. The timing of things, you taking your, you know, your opportunity when the opportunity presents itself, and you standing up, you be ready.
There you go. You heard it first right here, my man Tabari. Thanks for coming through.
No doubt.
My man that changed our life too by signing PD Pablo. You know what I mean? So
no, that's
you know, it is what it is, man. PD, what up? But listen, man, follow my man Tabari on social media. You see his Instagram and all that stuff right here.
Tabari TV, Tabari.tv, and it's the same website, Tabari.tv. I appreciate you, and, you know, finally inviting me out after like mad years of you being here and, you know, giving me the snub. You know what I'm saying? Now I got, you know, I got the nod, and now I feel accomplished, and I can go and create something now.
Let's go overdraft our accounts. All right?
All right, for
My
sure.
dude.